Byron?
Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, thank you, Esther. That you echoed a lot of my thoughts. I think the city staff that has been, excellent and resilient in the face of quite a lot of frustrated and angry neighbors in a lot of these neighborhood meetings. I wrote it in the comments here, much better than I can usually speak them out, but I'll go ahead and just say it out loud too. Getting one particular perspective from one particular type of Boisean is what we usually see in these neighborhood meetings. They tend to be attended by older homeowners, people who are housing secure, and people who have a lot of what I would call growth stressors. They're stressed out about growth. They're stressed out about the future of Boise, and they don't know where to put a lot of that fear and anger energy. And so they have a tendency to show up at neighborhood meetings with the intention of sometimes disrupting, sometimes being as loud as possible in trying to change the temperature of the room or the conversation that's happening as part of the presentation. I've seen multiple things happen. And so that's been pretty frustrating as well, specifically because I know that's not the only Boisean that's out there. Those are the Boiseans that tend to attend those neighborhood meetings. But there are many other, possibly hundreds of other types of Boiseans that we haven't heard from, and or at least we as a group may not have heard from, and certainly haven't heard from in the neighborhood meetings, because their primary method of responding to the comments from module 1 or 2 are likely, we don't have access to those. They're probably emailed, they're probably texted to city staff. So we don't hear from those people as a group either. So it's easy to see, it's easy to become convinced that what we're hearing is nothing but negativity, nothing but anger from Boiseans as a whole, when that's really not the case. It is interesting to me that so many of the questions and confusions that lie around these neighborhood meetings tend to surround the particularities of a zoning code. And I think that's easy to understand, because what we're asking people to do is get up to speed very quickly on something that's very close to a legal document. I mean, it is a legal document in a certain sense. It's difficult for the average Boisean to know how to respond to things like setbacks or height limits and density limits. So in a way, I do understand where they're coming from. I understand where their anger and fear is coming from, but so much of that has to do with just this lack of information or lack of ability to kind of comprehend the plan itself and understand that growth is happening anyway.